Most people know Andrew Tate as the man with supercars, private jets, expensive watches, and controversial opinions. But very few people truly understand how his story started. Because before the internet fame, before millions of followers, before becoming one of the most talked about men on earth, Andrew Tate was just a poor kid growing up in a broken home, a boy who hated weakness, a boy who became obsessed with power, and a boy who promised himself that one day he would become so successful that nobody could ever control him again. Andrew Tate was born on December 1st, 1986 in Washington, D.C. His full name was Emory Andrew Tate III. His father, Emory Tate, was an incredibly intelligent chess master. People described him as a genius. Andrew grew up watching his father defeat people using nothing but intelligence, confidence, and strategy. To Andrew, his father looked unstoppable. But despite his father's brilliance, life inside the house was not peaceful. His parents eventually separated. And after the divorce, everything changed. Andrew moved to England with his mother and siblings. They settled in Luton, a rough town where life was difficult and money was always a problem. Andrew has spoken many times about those painful years. Sometimes the family struggled financially. Sometimes they felt completely powerless. And those experiences deeply affected him. Because when a child grows up around struggle, it changes the way they see the world forever. Andrew started believing that money was not just important. Money was survival. Money meant freedom. Money meant nobody could control your life. As he grew older, Andrew became extremely competitive. He hated losing. Whether it was games, arguments, sports, or simple conversations, he always wanted to dominate. But deep inside, he also carried anger. Anger from poverty. Anger from feeling weak. Anger from watching other people live successful lives while his family struggled. Then one day he discovered kickboxing, and everything changed. Inside the gym, Andrew found purpose. Training became his obsession. While other teenagers wasted time partying, relaxing, or chasing entertainment, Andrew trained harder every single day. Punch after punch, round after round, sweat, pain, blood. To him, suffering was necessary, because he believed pain creates strength. And slowly, the weak boy from Luton started transforming into a fighter. Years of hard work eventually paid off. Andrew Tate became a professional kickboxer and won multiple world championships. Inside the ring, he built the personality the world would later recognize. Confident, aggressive, fearless. He enjoyed dominating opponents. He enjoyed proving people wrong. And for the first time in his life, people respected him. But there was still one major problem. Fighting made him respected. Not rich. And Andrew Tate didn't just want fame. He wanted complete freedom. The kind of freedom only massive wealth could buy. So while building his fighting career, he also started studying business, marketing, and psychology. He realized something most people never understand. In the modern world, attention is power. The people who control attention control everything. Around the mid-2010s, Andrew and his brother Tristan Tate started building online businesses. At first, almost nobody cared about them. But Andrew understood social media better than most people. He knew the internet rewards emotion, shock, confidence, controversy. People online don't pay attention to normal behavior. They pay attention to strong reactions. So Andrew slowly created a larger-than-life personality. Luxury cars, private jets, designer watches, cigars, fearless confidence. Everything about him looked powerful. Everything about him screamed success. And slowly, the internet became addicted. His clips started spreading everywhere. Some people watched because they admired him. Others watched because they hated him. But both sides kept watching. and every single view made him more famous. Then came the nickname, Top G. Andrew Tate started speaking directly to young men online. He talked about discipline, fitness, money, escaping weakness, escaping the matrix, becoming successful, becoming powerful, and millions of young men connected with his message instantly, especially boys who felt invisible, ignored, lonely, or lost. Andrew made them feel strong. He spoke with complete confidence. He told them they could escape average life. He told them they could become rich. He told them weakness was a choice. And for many people, that message became addictive. Soon, Andrew Tate became one of the most viral men on the internet. TikTok was flooded with his clips. YouTube Shorts exploded with his speeches. Instagram pages reposted him constantly. Podcasts invited him everywhere. No matter where people looked online, they saw Andrew Tate. Some people called him motivational. Others called him dangerous. But nobody could ignore him. And Andrew understood something important. The internet rewards controversy. The more emotional people become, the more attention you receive. Behind the scenes, Andrew was also building a massive business empire. He launched online programs teaching people how to make money online. One of his most famous businesses became Hustlers University. Thousands of people joined. And the marketing strategy was incredibly powerful. Students promoted Andrew Tate clips online. Those clips went viral. New people joined the program. Then those new students promoted even more clips again. It became a giant self-growing machine. And suddenly, Andrew Tate was making millions of dollars. Luxury became part of his identity. Bugattis, mansions, private jets, designer suits, luxury watches. Everything about his life looked larger than reality. To many young fans, Andrew Tate became the symbol of freedom. The man who escaped the system. The man who beat normal life. The man who became powerful enough that nobody could control him anymore. But massive fame always creates enemies. As Andrew Tate's popularity exploded, criticism against him exploded too. Many people accused him of spreading toxic ideas online. Schools reported boys repeating his controversial opinions. Teachers warned parents about his influence. Social media companies eventually started banning many of his accounts. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. One by one, platforms removed him. But strangely, the bans only made him more famous. Because controversy creates curiosity, and curiosity creates attention. People who had never heard his name before suddenly became interested. Everyone wanted to know who Andrew Tate was. Supporters defended him aggressively online. Critics attacked him even harder. The internet became divided into two sides. One side believed Andrew Tate was motivating young men to become stronger and more disciplined. The other side believed he was dangerous and harmful. And Andrew Tate stood directly in the center of the storm. Then came the moment that shocked the entire world. In December 2022, Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan were arrested in Romania. Authorities accused them of serious crimes, including human trafficking and organized crime allegations. News channels everywhere covered the story. The internet exploded overnight. Supporters claimed he was being targeted unfairly because of his influence and popularity. Critics believed justice was finally catching up to him. Andrew Tate denied all accusations against him, but investigations continued. And suddenly, the man who once looked untouchable was sitting inside a jail cell. For a man obsessed with freedom and control, it became the biggest challenge of his entire life. The images shocked millions of people online. The man who once appeared unstoppable now looked vulnerable. But even after the arrests and controversies, millions of people still support Andrew Tate today. Why? Because to many people he represents strength. confidence, discipline, ambition, the idea of escaping weakness. And in today's world, many young men feel lost. Many feel ignored. Many feel frustrated with life. Andrew Tate speaks directly to those emotions. That's why his influence became so massive. Not because everyone agrees with him, but because he understands emotion better than most people on the internet. He understands attention. He understands psychology. And he understands how modern social media works. Today, Andrew Tate remains one of the most controversial people alive, loved by some, hated by others, ignored by nobody. His journey from a poor boy in Luton to one of the most famous men on the internet is one of the wildest stories of the modern digital age. But whether history remembers Andrew Tate as a motivational icon or as a warning about internet influence is something only time will decide, because the story of Andrew Tate is still not over.